Hello, my name is Cody. Welcome to the Unifying Field podcast. I am so glad you are here. I've started incorporating other people's stories into this show, and I've talked about in the past how our stories have the ability to create heaven or hell on earth for us and the people we interact with. That is, if we attach to the stories our egos create, and that is absolutely true. We absolutely view the world through the lens of the stories we are attached to, good or bad. However, our stories are equally as powerful in inspiring others going through similar situations and inspiring them with the knowledge that, hey, it is possible to overcome this suffering, this pain. It shows others that it is possible to become free from the bondage of the mind and truly change our worlds for the better. And when we change our inner world, we now acquire the power to change the outer world. So from the bottom of my heart, I am thankful you are here. Welcome to the Unifying Field. Hey folks, we have a very special guest here today with us, and her name is, I always forget to ask, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Medini?
Medini is the correct way to pronounce it, but yeah, everyone says Medini, so I've accepted that as well. It's kind of difficult to pronounce the Sinhalese way, so that's fine.
All right. And one thing I like to do is just start off with, kind of the background because, where we're at today is very interesting on its own, but I feel like there's a lot that people can gain from learning about where we came from and what led us to, or what opened the doors to where we are now. So if you would just start right there.
Okay, yeah, the doors opened into the matrix as soon as the umbilical cord was cut, in my opinion. So that's where my journey really started. Mhm. And I felt, looking back, reflecting back, that I was subjected to psychic warfare from the second I entered this matrix. But I didn't know that at the time. I was just inside this void. Um, is- uh, you can call it God, you can call it the superconscious mind. I have started to call it the matrix now. So I've called it many names. So matrix seems to be familiar to everyone. So I just carried on my life doing exactly as I was told by my parents. And, I was quite religious in that sense. My dad was Hindu, my mom Buddhist. So I got teachings from both sides, and carried on. And then I came to the UK when I was a teenager, about 15 years old. And that's when I decided that I need to find out about my future, because prior to that, when I was in Nigeria, I probably kept myself hidden because I felt my true self didn't really want to come out, my soul. So it was hidden till I came to the UK. And I was into psychic readings, horoscopes, palm readings. And one thing that really stood out for me was when my friend's aunt told me that every time she focused on me, all she saw was the word power. That was it. I didn't have anything else to go with. So I assumed that I would just study hard, work hard, hold a really good position in a company, just as my parents wanted. And all the problems started when after my daughter was born. So I had postnatal depression, and also I had hypothyroidism. And I just kept on taking drugs as I was told I had to take it for life. And then when my daughter was about 1.5 years old, I just felt I was not good enough and tried to take my own life. I felt that my daughter deserved better, a better mother. But then I just cried out while I was sitting there on the ground, um, just about to collapse. I just called out to my friend saying, just help me. I just don't want to die. And that's when she was the only friend I had. I didn't have many friends. I just felt I was alone on this journey. It's like I kept everything at the surface level. So she was the only one I could call up in this instance, and I did. And she came. She had other things to do, but she dropped everything, came. The police had to break the door down because I just had no way of opening it. I ended up in the ambulance where I lost my life. And there I had another message because I was basically sitting half upright. So I saw the light. I wanted to go to the light. I was desperate. I was trying to wriggle my way out. I could feel that my bottom half of my body was intact. So I couldn't wriggle out. There was this voice, a deep, husky voice that came up and said, go back, you have work to do. And I was just pushed back into my body. I didn't have a choice but to go back. Um, so and then my journey started. That's when I felt that power and go back, I have work to do, didn't mean a thing to me. So I had to find out what all this meant. And my first focus was to get better, come out of all my medications. So I started experimenting with different things like healing modalities, meditations, massage, yoga. I went into all that, did courses because I wanted to understand everything so I could heal myself. And I did chakras. Chakra healing was one of them I worked with. I did Reiki as well, Reiki courses, and other modalities as well, like theta healing. The meditations I did, the healings I did, didn't really resonate with me. So I started creating my own things. And it went on from there. I still had ups and downs. My son was born when in 2018. And then shortly after that, I had another breakdown because I started seeing ghosts, and because I was into a lot of tarot card readings and psychic work, out of body experiences within my meditation practices, which I was doing up to 4 hours a day over a period of 4 years. So I my husband at the time, my ex now, um, felt something was drastically wrong with me because I started closing all the doors, windows. I asked him to keep my children outside of my room. We were kind of separated at the time, um, but not officially as such. We were in different rooms and things. So I asked him to keep them out of my room. I locked myself in. And he ended up calling my family and got the ambulance in, and I ended up in a psychiatric ward. So that was not out of choice. So I was there for 2 weeks. I managed to get out of there because I felt I needed to get back to my children. They needed their mother, and I got out. So then came another challenge. I don't know if I should carry on because I've got so many. Shall I pause there for a second too, or
Uh,
shall I carry on?
that's pretty powerful. I I think a lot of people can relate to that kind of stuff. I mean, we don't express that. We try to keep the persona on and make it seem like our lives are just going just fine. But the reality is, we're all struggling, and I
Yeah,
found myself in the psych ward or a couple of times myself on my journey. I checked myself in because I was at the end of my life as well, and yeah, it was a rough time, and I also got loaded up on a bunch of medications, and it helped me through the things that I was struggling with, but I couldn't feel a thing after that. I felt like I imagine like a sociopath would feel. You're living in this body, but you can't feel a thing, and that's not any way to live. But yeah, thank you for sharing that.
yeah,
That was
Yeah, medication just shuts you down, and it's like, yeah, your soul is missing. That's how I felt. It's like I didn't know who I was. You probably felt the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
How how did you get out of it then? How did you come off the medication, or are you still on them?
I so my uncle introduced me to meditation. My parents got into meditation before I was born, and
Okay.
my uncle said, "Hey, you need to get off that stuff. If you're willing to try meditation, I'll get you a meditation program and some books and things like that." And that's where I started opening up to ideas beyond Christianity and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I mean, so the medication, bought me some time, and
Okay.
then meditation bought me some years. I got rid of panic attacks and all of that stuff. But later on, and way more recently, I would figure out that for the last 10 years or so, I'd been spiritual bypassing. I hadn't been hadn't worked on the things that needed to be worked on. I was just using it as a way of escape. And I don't think meditation actually. I love meditation. Like, I don't want to make it sound like
Is that
meditation.
is a set kind of meditation that you're following someone else's teaching, so you do your own thing? And you sort of worked with other people's stuff, but you created your own thing to benefit you.
Yeah,
How is
yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah. I just followed a meditation program, uh,
Okay.
and it was great. I mean, today I still meditate. But most of
Okay.
the time I just do my own thing and I just follow the breath and I have no goal other
Yeah.
than just to sit in the stillness.
Do you get any messages coming through when you're in stillness or anything
I
like that?
I've never really the only time that I've had much of an experience that I can remember is once my heart broke open in my awakening experience, and that time was kind of wild. I found myself flying in meditation and some like psychedelic type things, but you know, otherwise I don't see anything. I don't get a lot of messages. Most of my messages are just in my intuition in my normal day to day, but during regular meditation, I don't haven't experienced a whole lot.
Okay. Do you feel that are you familiar with the void and things like that? Like I was
The
explaining
void.
about myself, the void,
Yeah, yeah.
superconscious mind and things. Um, can you relate to what I said about myself in terms of your experiences at all? Or is
Let's
that
see.
something completely different?
So like finding yourself in the void. Um,
I would say my soul was suppressed whilst I was in the void. For
I got you.
me, I couldn't feel. It's like something was telling me to do things and live by these society's rules, but
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with those society's rules. That's why I just started creating my own thing. And I felt that whatever my soul was asking me to do, I was trying to do it. But then because I call brain in the head as a secondary brain,
Hmm.
and the brain in the navel that created us as the primary brain. So the brain in the head it rationalizes, says, oh, society is saying you should do this, this, and this. But I'm saying, no, I don't want to do this. It doesn't agree with me. So it's like there was this conflict going on. And I ended up for a short period of time because I had children. I had to be this mother, wife, um, you know, earning money, looking after the home. I had to do everything perfectly by society's rules,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and I was like fighting inside.
Yeah,
Um,
I can relate to that. And even recently, for the majority of my life, I felt like there's something more, like I have more potential than what I'm able to express in life. So I've always felt suppressed in that way, and also being around a religion. My wife is a fundamentalist Christian, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's always caused like some struggle, in the at home, and even recently. So I can still, even where I'm at now, I can still relate because I wasn't completely honest with my beliefs to her, and I knew that once I was, then she would want a divorce, you know. But I had to be honest because I'm still, I guess, kind of in that void like you're talking about, like still not able to express what my soul wants to express until I was completely honest with myself and with her and all that stuff.
I can relate to the Christianity side because my ex-husband, he is a Church of England Christian, and her mom's side are all, what do you call it, ministers. So I struggled with that. I really struggled because the mother wanted to baptize my children, and I refused. Whenever she was here, she's not here. She is in Sri Lanka. Whenever she was here, she wanted to drag my children to church and things like that. So I struggled a little bit with that. And I wanted my children growing up without any religions. Even I didn't push them into my religions.
Just
Gradually,
the
I came
ability
away from, yes, they
to
need to make
choose.
them own mind up. Yeah. Because even I struggled. My dad died of multiple organ failure through alcoholism, and I feel he was targeted as well because of me. I just blame myself for it because of who I was. I felt my dad was targeted. So when he came from Nigeria, because he was working there to here, he couldn't get a job because he didn't have UK experience, only experience in another country, foreign country. And he died he went into alcohol deeply and multiple organ failure. So he died. And after that, I lost all faith in religions. I just, you know, my father suffered a lot. So it was like me, after that, it was me battling and battling and battling as well. Because I felt he was living as his soul, and he just didn't have a choice. He didn't have any. Drink was the only way he could cope, you know, with that. So I just, when it comes to the soul, it's very difficult to find it. People, I understand, call it the higher self. Whenever people used to say higher self, I used to wonder what exactly does that mean? And now, because I do a lot of energy work, I realize that they're talking about the actual soul. The soul, they see their soul as outside of the body somehow, but I see it as inside suppressed. So I need to bring it out. You know, if your soul is outside the body, then you're actually being controlled inside the body by
Yeah.
some, you're an entity with all these energies coming in, telling you should do this, this, and this, according to society. So I'm beginning to understand quite a lot about how people work, the spiritual side of things. I understand so many of the words that they use and why they use it as well. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, religion, I mean, most religions are, well, I say most religions, but where I'm at, religion is definitely duality based. Um, Buddhism is non dual, and Hinduism can be both.
Yeah.
And So we always have this view of the higher power being outside of us, and what we're working towards in life, trying to get to heaven. It's something outside of us. But even Jesus said that when asked when the kingdom of heaven would come, he said it's not outside of you, it's within you. And yeah, that's where I view the soul or the higher self or whatever you want to call it is within the heart space. And that's the way I've experienced it too.
You see it in the heart space, do you?
Hmm.
I see it as the inside the navel.
It
So
could
that's
absolutely be both. Just this whole general area, even, I couldn't tell you how big or whatever
yeah,
the soul actually is, but like where it's anchored, I guess, somewhere in this
yeah,
region.
yeah. Basically, it's the first thing that happened through the umbilical cord was to create the heart, the head here, um, because you need the heart in order to pump the blood, the cells to create everything else, right? So
Hmm.
that's probably where that comes in that you're talking about. So every time someone says something, I try and analyze it with the energy and see how it works, because I can't just, I'm sort of, that's my primary language. So I always analyze using energy. So that's probably what you mean, because the heart was created, and yeah, I don't know if that means anything to you, but yeah.
Sure.
Mm.
So thinking about the gut brain, I've heard that there are neurons within the gut or the stomach that are just like what we find in the brain. And so my first thought on that is, I have a gut feeling on something. I know I should do.
Can you just, sorry, can you just give me a second? I just realized it's getting dark here. I want to put the lights on. I
Okay.
didn't realize. Sorry, hold on. That's better. Didn't realize what was going on there. Okay, yeah, gut brain. Sorry. Carry
You're
on.
fine. My first thought was something we hear a lot, and maybe we express a lot, is you've got a gut feeling about something. You
Yeah.
should do something or you shouldn't do something.
Yeah.
And even in these types of conversations, like I know as I'm getting more used to being social, I'm not somebody who has been social a lot in my life, and I'm starting to find my voice. But I always try, whenever I feel like I'm up in my head, I always try to move at least down to my heart, which I can move down into my stomach as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually speaking from the heart. Or maybe I'm speaking from the gut. I don't know.
So, what do you see when you're focusing like that? When you're talking and focusing the heart center and then the gut, do you feel any kind of energy or it's
Just
just?
warmth. I just shift my awareness down into here and I just feel warmth in the heart space.
Do you see any colors or anything like that, or
No,
no
just
colors?
just warmth.
Not even white? Okay. You don't see any like light or dark. It's not dark or light. No.
Nothing that I can.
Because I know when it comes to chakras, it's a different color. It's like green. But sometimes, gradually, I used to lose that when I was doing my chakra meditations long, long time ago. This is years ago. So it used to be green. Then I used to see pink. Then I went into clear, white, white, clear, that kind of thing. And I was more happy when I saw the clearness in there at the time. So that I could tune into. So that felt more like, I guess, the soul, possibly the soul at the time. But now it's totally different, obviously. But at the time, it was quite clear. Yeah. So maybe it's different for different people, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Feelings
absolutely.
different.
I know some people, for example, when it comes to psychic things or the clairs, some people can see things really well, and other people can hear things really well.
Yeah.
And I think probably one of my strengths would be hearing.
Mm,
But yeah,
yeah.
I don't see a lot. I mean, I can visualize, but I don't see a lot of things.
So
So
is there anything that you would like to be doing at this stage of your life? You just want to take it as it comes.
yeah, that's the main thing. I just want to. My only goal is to try to stay in alignment as best as I can and not listen to my what my ego says. You know, try to
Okay.
stay aligned with my soul and whatever my purpose is, because I'm tired of not working my purpose. I'm like,
So you
so
don't feel your ego is your earth soul.
do what?
Ego is your earth soul. For me, personally, I see the ego as my earth soul, which is a combination of conscious mind and the body. So when you're conscious and you work with your body, you actually that's how I relate in terms of energy to ego. I know it's a very negative thing for people about the ego, but for me, it's actually positive because when you're focusing on the ego, it feels like you're giving yourself self-love, unconditional self-love. And it's only if it's in pain, only if the ego is in pain, then you start screaming and shouting and getting upset and, upset at other people. That's how I've been seeing it because I used to have a lot of arguments with people, get angry a lot,
Yeah, me too.
but I acknowledged it. I realized there must be a reason why I'm this angry. I'm not happy. Um, and if I discarded that part of me, that means I don't love that aspect of me. So I didn't want to do that to myself because that is an important quality because when you recognize that quality and it's not good for the soul, then you want to change it. And only you can do that. No one else can do it for you. But you have to see how it feels in your body before you can change it. So yeah, I probably see things a little bit differently.
Oh, that's
To the
beautiful.
way you see things.
Self
So I
love
know.
is definitely important. Yeah, it's the ego is only a bad thing when it's has complete control over our lives, and really it's not that it's bad. It's nature isn't bad. It's just it's conditioned by all the different things that we've experienced in life, all these little features that we add to our identity. It's trying to keep us safe, and what it
Yeah,
thinks is keeping us safe a lot of times keeps us isolated, which is not good. And it wants uh, immediate satisfaction, things like that, or what is it? Immediate
no, it's
gratification.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's right though, isn't it? Immediate gratification. You need to change that, right? To
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, it's not always possible. We are inside the void, the matrix, and we have to experience things, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and it takes for me it took getting tired of finding myself in crappy situations just from making mistakes and finally surrendering and trying to get out of the way and let
yeah,
the other side of me come forward and which is ultimately what happened. Enough times I finally had enough, and I was able to get some space within my mind to be able to pause in situations for a moment. And I just started questioning everything. Anytime I had a feeling, I would shift my lamp of awareness back onto the ego and say, why do I feel that way? Like what makes me think that this other person, so like in an argument with my wife, what makes me think that she doesn't have a right to be angry, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever. And I would do that just constantly throughout the day, and it worked. And that's
Yeah.
ultimately that what helped me lift up my ego and see it completely. And
Yeah. Questioning things, isn't it? Yeah,
uh,
I question a lot of things as well. And that helps. It's like your soul starts speaking to you
mhm.
from inside and gives you the answers. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. So,
When I first experienced it, I was I've been doing this podcast for a little while, and I was working on an episode about projection. And so I was looking up examples on the internet and trying to figure out how to apply this idea to my life so I wouldn't project anymore. And I was at work, and I was kind of contemplating this, and then I wasn't in meditation. It was kind of fascinating. And I shifted to the observer or the witness, and I got to watch my ego say, well, first I decided that I'm not going to project on anybody anymore. And then I got to witness my ego say, but if you don't project onto other people, that doesn't prevent them from projecting onto you. And then another voice, which could have been my soul, whatever, said that if you don't project onto other people, you end up becoming nobody for others to project onto, or something like that. Like, so when they start projecting onto you, there's nothing solid for their projections to land on. And so their projections dissolve, and yeah, there's nobody to get defensive. You're just, because here's the thing: when take an argument, you're in an argument with somebody, or somebody gets angry at you. If their anger is coming from their own ego, and if you react out of anger in response to that, the only thing you're going to do is you're strengthening your own ego, for one, and you're also strengthening their ego. But if you're nobody, if their projections cannot stick to you, you don't get defensive, they
mm,
have no enemies to project onto.
yeah.
And when that happens, their ego weakens, and they can start to see through their own illusions. And, I
Mm.
mean, it's all obviously easier said than done. It's so much easier to
Trying to
just.
be nobody, like a bouncing thing. Like you become like a bouncing. They can only bounce off you, and that energy goes back to them as
Mhm.
opposed to entering you, basically. Okay, that's interesting as well. Yeah, that's good. When you're empathetic, empathy is a big thing. When you empathize with people, you tend to absorb a lot, don't you? For other people's
Mhm.
energies that are inside them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So being this way, you're actually pushing it back into them and saying, work on it yourself. Give yourself some self-love. Um, and love that part of yourself that is angry, but then you're harming yourself. Why don't you do something to get out of that? Give yourself some self-love and do something that makes you happy instead.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That was
Okay.
like my journey. Like my goal was never enlightenment or anything like that. It was this idea that I learned from Ram Dass, which was becoming nobody. I never knew what that meant until I had that experience. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that means. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's exactly
nobody's a good
who I
one.
try to be. Is no one.
Does it work now, being a nobody?
For the most,
I refer to that. I refer to that as that is something I work with as well. I quite like that. It can have negative implications if you tell someone else that. But like I have been when I was trying to get myself heard on the internet on social media, I call myself the 0 point energy, the zero. And I used to get this really harsh comments saying zero brain cells and zero brain and all kinds of things like that. That's those are the comments I got when I commented on, certain because I learn things as a result of energy and I can see what the energy is doing to people inside. So this is what I base my comments on. And these are the comments I used to get, zero brain cells. And to me, that is similar to what you're saying. I'm becoming nothing, basically. Nothingness. Um, that is a 0 point. Yeah. That's the point of creation.
yeah,
Um,
infinite
that,
potential.
yeah, exactly. So people can bounce off you. It doesn't affect you. But then I used to get upset as a result of it. Some of them got upset. Some of them I didn't get upset for whatever reason. And I had to analyze them along my journey as to why I was getting upset and why I wasn't getting upset for certain other people's comments and things. So that was a really hard journey as well. But I had to go through it. I had to go through it and, say to people what I wanted to say about energy. Yeah. No, I'm learning a lot about different types of people and why they are where they are and how they're affected by the energies around them because thoughts are basically energy. They can enter you anytime.
Yeah,
You can't say no to it unless it comes into your consciousness. When it comes to your consciousness and you see that it's harming you, then you can say, no, I don't want it, go away. But then it can stay with you unconsciously as well, make you do things that you don't really want to do, but you can't control. But
and,
yeah.
and that's where. So like during that time, it was a lot easier in that time, for a little while, and it's since then it's become more like I still have control. Like my ego is not running the show like it used to, but we still have an ego. Like we have an ego that helps us navigate this physical world, and it might be impossible without it. And so when mean things are said, for example, like what you were talking about, like the ego still feels that, but
Mm.
we don't have to jump on the roller coaster of emotion that it wants to bring up. We can just sit with that, and it's not easy to do, and it takes practice. But it's just being willing to be present with what it is that we feel, and if you can transmute it, transmute it. Otherwise, if you can just all you can do is just sit with it. That's one thing I would
Mm.
do, and just sit with the uncomfortable energy and just feel it, and it just extremely uncomfortable. But
What happens after that then? Once you feel it being really uncomfortable to you, what do you do with it after that?
I mean, I just a lot of times I just let it run through me.
and out, or keep it in?
I guess out. Like it's almost like it dissolves or something. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. Like today, I try to do some exercise and things like that, but sometimes it feels like all I can do is just sit with the uncomfortable energy and just let it
Okay.
burn off whatever it needs to burn off, of the old self. And
Mhm. Okay, so it's still going out of you. You're waiting for it to go out. You don't want to keep it inside, right? Is that right or not?
I guess so, but I'm just looking at it, watching it from the observer perspective, I guess, and just being present with it.
Okay. Okay. It's interesting. Interesting how different people work with things differently. Yeah. Um, yeah, I used to do that in my meditations quite a lot, long time ago. Like wondering why is this happening? Why is that happening? But in the moment, I never realized why I was doing it. I had to go away, sit down and, you know, reflect back. And I realized when I used to be married to this husband, I had been married only once. And we used to have arguments for the slightest, smallest, most ridiculous thing. And I'm the one who starts it. And looking back, it felt like um, it was annoying that the energy wasn't right. And I'm shouting it out. But it's not his fault. But I just did it. I kept on doing it, but I didn't understand why I was doing it. And that's probably what, you know, we divorced and all that. That's probably the reason. But yeah, we came together and obviously we separated out. And it wasn't after 20 years, it just wasn't working out. Because I was going in one direction and he was going in another direction. And it's very unlikely that he would have liked the direction that I was going in. It's highly unlikely because of his parents' background, his background. He was baptized. So I struggled with that because I never lived alone. Luckily, we had dual custody of our children, and which made it easier for me because they lived with me and him. But my poor children, I just feel sorry for them because they had to move between houses and they had to deal with our arguments. So I felt really sorry for them. But it's just the way things are. You can't help it, right? It's part of the journey. And we do everything in our power to make sure they're okay.
And maybe I think that's a lot of, I mean, maybe you could look at that as your karma, and you come into this world, and there's some things we have to do before we start waking up. So part of
Mm.
that in your case was being a mother, in my case being a dad, and
Yeah.
so we couldn't get to the waking up portion, I guess, until we got those things out of the way and got to a certain point, and then it was
Mhm.
time. Okay, now we're ready to get going. And I think a lot of that too helps us with our growth, because I know being a parent has been. I love it. I absolutely love it, but you learn a lot of
Yeah.
patience
Yeah.
and things like that, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
They brought me back in a way because I remember when I was in the ambulance, when I was half intact, I could hear I had lost my heartbeat because I could hear that noise going all the way across. I couldn't turn my head. I could only look at the light. I was looking one direction. And my friend was in the ambulance with me, and I could hear her saying, "We love you. Please come back. Selena needs you. She needs her mother. You can't go. You can't die. Please come back." And she kept on saying that. I could hear that. But it was like I can see the light at the same time, and I really want to go to the light. It's just some kind of attraction there to the light. But then obviously I had this really strong, firm voice and a push into my body, and I just came back. So I still equate it to my children. It was only my daughter at the time when I was in the ambulance. So my children needing their mom, they need that female side as well.
Yeah.
And although I lost touch with my daughter a bit later on, like maybe 18, 19, she stays with her dad mostly. She used to get panic attacks when she's near me. And I could feel that is to do with my energy. And I had to let her go because I didn't want her having the panic attacks and I didn't force it. I didn't have a choice. So I did my best because at the time I didn't know who I was, what I was, my energy. I didn't know anything. So I just let her go. Whatever happens, I'm still going to be there for her. So I sent her the odd messages, text messages, tried to call. She never get called back or anything, but I know she's there. She reads them and things like that. And with my son, by the time my son was sort of a little bit grown up as a teenager, I did my best to make sure I didn't lose him like my daughter. I'm still there for my daughter, but I need my son to keep me going as well. So he's 17. So I'm really hoping everything's going to be okay, which I know it will because he helps me a lot. He stays in both houses and things are getting better. So
That's great.
it's good. Yeah. I had to find a way to get my daughter back somehow. How about your kids? Are they quite young? Oh,
Yeah, my oldest is 3 and my youngest is 18 months.
that's a hard time. It's like, oh, they're toddlers. The angels, they don't even know anything at that time. They're living in as a soul.
Yeah.
And it's really hard because we try and change them into society's way of living. And they don't want it. Their soul does not want it. And we had to get them to fit in. I didn't know what I was doing back then, but only when my son was like maybe 14, 13, 14, I knew that I was somebody that I had to work with this, but also not lose my children. I had to try and, find that balance somehow. Mhm.
That's hard. Balance is so difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah, think of
So how
my
are you coping with, how are you coping with your two young kids?
the best I can. I don't get a ton of sleep. You know, I could definitely use a lot more rest, especially with having this podcast and interviewing
Yeah,
people and stuff like that, and trying to keep up with all the social media clips and everything else. It's a busy schedule, but it's great. I know that what I'm doing with this show feels more in alignment than any outside of like the parenting. Obviously, is great, but like my work outside of this is it's just supporting consumerism and that kind of stuff. Working for a big company like that, and yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There's an example of my oldest. One of her favorite TV shows is called like Super Kitties or something like that, and we were out in the backyard and she was running around and just having me chase her. And we were running and she kept saying something Super Kitty Turbo Boost or something. And she kept saying that. And she was getting frustrated. She's like, Dad, why does my turbo boost not work? Like on the TV show. And it was just one of those things where they don't have any limitations until the world shows them that they've got limitations. So
yeah. No, I wish I knew what I knew now back then. Um, how things would be different. But I don't regret what I've been through. I mean, I went into my life when I first got married with my eyes wide open. I knew that I was getting into something really big, but I had to do it, even though it was not going to be a successful marriage. I knew that at the time, but I just went into it, and not many people get that opportunity. They go into it with their eyes closed, and they suffer a lot. So I guess I managed to cope with it. For some reason, I managed to cope with it, and yeah, it was fine. Although, yeah, I can't say I wish I could take the years back because I wouldn't be where I am if I did. So I really do. I'm really grateful for what I experienced. Um,
Um,
it's good.
Almost like everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And it's, it comes with a lot of pain. But when we look back at it, like, yeah, we needed
Yeah,
that to get here. And here
yeah,
is way better than back there. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm quite happy with the way it's turned out. I don't regret anything. I don't regret everything I've learned. But it's the next step for me to I actually don't know where I'm heading at the moment. I'm at a stage. I'm just taking one day at a time, being in the now because the past is gone, it's dead. The future, I actually, although because I work with the 0 point energy, I do feel I know the past, present, and future. That it's all happening at the same time for me. I still physically don't know my future um, physical terms, but energy terms I do. So I don't know how to translate it. So I just have to work with the now, what is being presented to me every single moment. So which is probably how you live as well, living in the now every moment. And that seems to be working for me anyway.
and we kind of get just what we need. And, the ego comes in and is like, I really want to know what happens next. But that doesn't do any good. And it just creates more unnecessary suffering. And really, it's out of our control. The ideal way is just to, yeah, do the best we can and try to stay aligned and just listen.
Aligned, yeah.
Listen to your
Yeah, I
gut or
agree
your
with
heart.
you. Yeah, I agree with the gut. But the thing with the gut instinct is you probably only got 1%. The rest is through the vagus nerve, that is. You only got 1% access to the gut instinct. And most of the time, I find, like when I teach my students how to drive, I tell them to do something. Like, I'll give you an example. I tell them, okay, we're going to take the next road on the left. So, can you please check the center mirror and the left mirror? Then signal. And the second I say that, they quickly check the center mirror and the right mirror. And I'm wondering, I just said the center mirror, left mirror. And the comment I get is, yes, I know you said that. I don't know why I'm doing this, center mirror, right mirror. I don't know, you know? So it's like the brain in the head has taken over, the gut instinct to go that way. Your your gut is saying you're supposed to be going this way,
Mm-hmm.
but the rational brain is going that way. So that's the thing with the gut instinct, isn't it? People are actually overriding it using their secondary brain, which means you're not following your soul's calling, which is the gut instinct.
It seems like
And it's a,
it's. I was just gonna say that it seems like the rational brain seems to scream the loudest, and
yeah,
intuition or whatever, it's quiet. So we have to kind of quiet our mind down a little bit. That's where meditation helps tremendously, to where we can actually hear the other voice and not just what screams the
Yeah.
loudest at us.
Yeah. But also, they say that the unconscious mind is the most powerful. I've been hearing this quite a lot. Unconscious mind is the most powerful. But then I ask myself, like, if I was to go to the hospital and I get told, oh, my dad is unconscious by the doctor, what goes through our mind is he's in bed like a vegetable, almost unalive, can't do anything, right? But so how can anyone say that unconscious mind is the most powerful? It isn't. It's taking control of. It's the way that energies come in to control you. And the other thing I've noticed when I teach people how to drive is subconscious mind. So even though it has the conscious element in there, I've realized that the unconscious part has taken control. So the unconscious part is telling them to do something, even though they're supposed to be doing, consciously they know they're supposed to be doing something else. So that's where the subconscious part works. So these are the things that I'm coming across a lot when I teach people. And then there's the conscious mind. Conscious mind is so small at the moment to people. They're so relying so much on the unconscious mind and even the subconscious mind. And this is where humanity is likely to become extinct. Humanity, when they were born, they were connected to their primary brain in the navel. It got disconnected. So automatically they got connected to their secondary brain in the head. Um, and there's a lot of information coming into their secondary brain, which means their conscious mind is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and negligible. Which means if you don't use the conscious mind, which is consciousness, you become a program. You become a program and you're not a, you lose that. And it's sad to see because I see it with my students. And it's really sad to see that. I don't know how you see that, whether you resonate with what I just said on.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the way the world is right now is trying to keep us, it's just feeding us tons and tons of information. So much information that we can't do anything with. It just keeps us stressed out, anxious, and everything else. And yeah, we're just overloaded with noise. And so yeah,
Yeah,
the the world is trying to keep everyone from being able to hear that voice within, that still small voice or whatever. But it also kind of seems like the world is kind of waking up to what is going on as well. So as things get crazier and crazier, we're getting fed even more crazy things, and it's like, wait a second, what is really going on? We get, one bad thing happens in the world, and then we get fixated on that, or they throw some kind of divisive thing in between us, and we start fighting each other and all this stuff, and it's just, I think people are waking up to that. So I think there is hope,
mm,
but
yeah.
it's certainly, the world is certainly not an easy place right now to tune in to the inner voice. But
You can still find the time. You can always create time. You can never give an excuse. You can, even if it's 5 minutes walking in the park, you can still find
yeah,
that. You know, I when I'm talking to people, I just tell them that 5 minutes walk in the park. If you become conscious of where you are, the breathing, and also what you're looking at, seeing that what is there, whether it's a flower or a tree, what the tree looks like, what the leaves look like, the flowers, what they look like, and then you're breathing, the deep breathing. It is something, little by little, because when you feel it, you can just expand on that time you spend outdoors. If you become conscious of exactly what you're doing when you're doing it, it's just, I just find people do come up with excuses sometimes, saying they don't have the time. And, meditation can be done walking. It can be done whilst you're in the gym, exercising or running. It
Doing the
can be in the
dishes.
moment, right? Doing the dishes, exactly. Cooking. I like cooking. I love cooking because, I like experimenting. And I'm so conscious of what I'm doing, how much I'm putting in, like spices, what spices I put, because I don't like to go with my just what I was taught, basically my cultural stuff. I like to experiment with different things, so I create my own. And you can use that as becoming more aware. It's awareness at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. That reminds me of, I'm guessing this is probably from some Buddhist text or something, some Buddhist teaching, but it's how do you make the perfect cup of tea? And if I remember correctly, it was, being absolutely aware of everything in the moment as you're making the cup of tea. So it's not in the ingredients, but it's in the being aware of everything that you're doing in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, you're right, because I have started doing that now with my tea, and I just consciously do this, put that on, put some sugar, milk, tea, water, and it just comes right. I don't even have to taste it to see whether it's perfect. I'm happy with it, the outcome. And yeah, that's worked with me. I do, you see, when I went to India to do my yoga teacher training course, I went for a month. I bought about 100 books. I haven't read a single book. They're stored up in my cupboard. And I got all um, there are, these religious books that you get. What's it called? The Hindu religious books that you
The
get.
Vedas.
Yeah, all that. There's another one I can't remember. I got like two, three books of it. Yoga books, meditation
Oh, I got
books,
you. I got you.
everything. And I haven't read a single one. I had to get it delivered separately. I couldn't bring it in my suitcase because it was too heavy. So I had to get it sent in a different. So all these stupid things I've been doing. So maybe one day I will read it or open up a library. But yeah. But yeah, that sounds interesting because I've been doing that with tea. Even cooking is like that. I put this spice, that spice, and somehow it just comes out. I don't have to
Yeah,
taste it to see if it's perfect. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah,
And walking meditation, you walk, you don't do it, you don't do it at a normal pace. You slow down and you feel your foot going over the rocks. I feel your individual bones move, your toes, and all that kind of stuff. And you just be completely in the moment. And then take another step, and you can bring in everything that's around you. I know when I first started meditating, I remember seeing the grass on my way to school for the first time. I'd never looked at the grass. Like that the grass is green, but do you ever look?
mhm.
I
Mm,
didn't. I'm sure most people don't either. We're in our own little world wherever we go, and we miss
yeah,
out on a lot of really meaningful stuff because there is a lot of meaning in green grass or in the process of making food or tea and all that stuff.
yeah.
So,
No, I agree with you on that. Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to teaching, driving as well, when I say, oh, you need to do before you move off from a parked position, you need to look all around and make sure it's safe. And all I see is the head going from this side to that side. That's it, right? They miss the mirrors. They miss all the mirrors. So they're just looking from here. I don't know what they look at. So from the left to the right, they look. And if I ask them, what did you see on the left? They wouldn't have a clue. They'll have to go back and look again. So, it's like they're looking, but they're not actually seeing the information. and seeing what is really there, what's happening. So yeah, I have experienced that with students as well. And yeah, um, it's hilarious, you know. I learned so much teaching people to drive, and looking back, I didn't expect to learn all these things about people, but you begin to see it. And
Yeah.
I personally developed my skills because of that as well. Before that, I didn't have these skills. So, but you're doing it, aren't you? You're physically, literally doing it now, which is really
Mm.
great. Yeah.
That makes me what you just said about them looking and not seeing. That's a really big thing. That's what most of us do is we look but we don't see.
Yeah. Like different shades of grass. Some may have gone off. Maybe they're brown, but you begin to wonder, why is it brown whilst all the others are green? You know, where was the sun shining? You know, these questions come to mind as well sometimes when I walk down the street. You know, it's really good. And I enjoy a lot more as because I feel now I'm living as my soul. Um, and I don't have any intention of going back into the matrix. I'm quite happy where I am. And sometimes I get, when I with my students, sometimes I get a bit upset when I've tried to progress them and they go back, take two steps back. I get upset. So I seem to be energetically somehow connecting with them. And I have to spend time getting out of that, coming out of that. So I have those hiccups now and then, but I'm most of the time, maybe 99% of the time, I'm out of the matrix now, which is great.
Yeah,
So just keeping myself completely working as my soul, living as my soul. I don't know how you feel about things like that, but
I
that's
agree.
really important because yeah, that's great. So, how did you feel about this whole thing? I took a lot away from you talking to you, which was really great
Me as well.
because when I was, you're a lot younger than me, so when I was your age, I didn't have a clue about a lot of things. I was just taking one step at a time, trying to find my way around inside the void. Everything was dark for me. So I had to learn from other people, teaching other people, looking at other people, and then reflecting back at what happened. That's how I learned. But you're doing these things now, which is really good.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of my life was spent, you know, reflecting on past mistakes, but now it's I mean, I still make mistakes, but it's a lot of times you can fix the problems in the moment. You can start to like we were just talking about being able to see things clearly and see through the illusions of the mind and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's much better to be able to see things in the moment than to have to deal with the consequences of something in the reflect on the way you acted in the past. So yep, it's a ever unfolding journey, and who knows where it's going to lead. But I'm excited.
yeah, no, that's good. It's nice to be excited about the journey because at the end of the day, it's the journey you need to enjoy, not the final outcome. Because once you get there, where's the fun?
Yeah,
You know, uh, it is fun because you look back and see, oh, I did all this, you know, and I've got here. It's great. But the journey, you have to enjoy the journey. The more you enjoy the journey, the more things you face and experience that gives you joy as well. That's how I see it as well.
yeah,
So, which is great. I don't know how that resonates with you,
yeah,
but yeah,
definitely.
good. That was nice. It was great talking to you.
And
I don't know what time it is at the moment. Okay.
It's
You have to get ready for work as well, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was awesome talking to you, and
Yes, it was great.
I would love to do this again. So
Yeah, me too. It was great, actually. No, it was good fun. A lot of things that I haven't spoken about elsewhere, I was speaking about here as well, so it was nice. Well, thanks for this opportunity. That's really great. Thanks.
thank you, and me as well. I'm just trying to take my mask off. That way give other people permission to take their mask off. And be exactly who they are and be vulnerable and all that kind of stuff, and be the
Mhm.
soul, as you say.
Yeah.
And
Live as your soul. It's challenging. It's really hard work because
it is.
you sort of get pulled into the void or the matrix unconsciously because of the environment, the society. They pull you
Yeah,
in, and then you have to say, okay, no, I don't want to be in here. But it's a journey, isn't it? It's how strong you are to withstand it.
yeah.
Mm,
I think that's
yeah,
where it's important that the more people on the journey, you know, start stepping out of the matrix, the more it gives other people permission. The more we talk about this kind of stuff too. The more we
yeah,
put this out there and teach or whatever it is that we specialize in.
yeah,
This is our hope for humanity. And eventually, it's maybe one or two people at a time here or there that we may help on their journey. But eventually, it's going to be what's the compounding?
yeah. Like a domino effect, right?
Yeah, yeah. So one person affects one person, that person
Yeah.
affects another person, and yeah, just
Ripple effect. That's the word. That's a better
yeah,
word.
yeah,
Domino is going down, right? We want the ripple
yeah.
expanding outwards.
Or I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
going down could be great as well because that's knocking down the egos and letting
Yeah,
our true selves come out and play.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, this has been awesome. And
No, yeah, it was great.
if
Mm.
where can my listeners find you?
Sorry, say that again. I
Where
didn't
can my
hear.
where can my listeners find you at? Like your website, social
Oh,
media, that kind of stuff.
yeah. I got two websites. My personal one, that's www.medininadarajah.com. And the other one is www.thesource-abdominalbrain.com. Those are my two websites.
Awesome.
So, yeah, my personal one, there's a whole sort of, I wrote a 9-page Word document explaining a lot of history about where I come from and my challenges. So that's a long read. I'm hoping one day I could do a video of that. Maybe, you know, it's too much to read. So, but yeah, that's all my information there. And also, I have just opened up a Patreon account. Hopefully, I will start working with that as well. It's a lot of things I want to set up. But yeah, hopefully you can get in touch with me on there.
Sounds great. And I'll put those website links in the show notes. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you so much for joining us here on the Unifying Field. If this type of content resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to share your story as a guest or discuss a spiritual topic you are passionate about, please message me on one of the many platforms I am on at the Unifying Field. And I will end this by saying Namaste, which means the divine in me honors the divine in you. Bye, everybody.